Hi there, it's Laurel, and today I'm going to be sharing a card featuring some coloring on vellum. This is the card I'm going to be making today, and I'm using all Essentials by Ellen products. This is some 43-pound vellum by Essentials by Ellen. It's the thickest vellum I've ever found on the market. It's fantastic. I'm also using this stamp set called Hello Gorgeous. And I'm actually going to take that Hello Gorgeous stamp set and I'm going to kind of line it up on my vellum at a diagonal a little bit. And then I'm going to take that bling in that stamp set and just scatter it around. Now the stamping tool that I'm using is called the Misty, and it's fantastic. If you don't have a Misty, you can use an acrylic block. And what I'm doing is I'm placing all of my stamps onto my vellum piece, and I'm going to take that hinged door and press down, and it picks up my stamps. And because I have that vellum piece nestled there in that left-hand corner, my stamps are going to have perfect placement every single time as long as I keep my paper in the corner and my stamps on the block. So I could do some really great double stamping right here if I needed to. That is some Versamark ink that I inked up my stamps with, and then I'm going to sprinkle on some liquid platinum embossing powder. This embossing powder is awesome. It matches every stinking thing that you have, I promise. It's so pretty. I love that deep platinum. It's not silver, it's not gold. You get a little mix of the both. It's just fantastic. So I'm heating up my heat tool. The key to heating with vellum is to make sure your heat tool is good and hot, and then just take it to the paper very quickly. Don't leave it in one area at one time, and if you do that, your vellum isn't going to warp all over the place. So I wanted a couple more stamps scattered around there, so I've gone ahead and placed them onto my vellum where I want them to be. I'm going to pick them up with that hinge door there, ink it up with a Versamark, and then stamp down. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing, which is sprinkle on more of that liquid platinum embossing powder, and then heat the images with my heat tool here. So again, my heat tool is already nice and warm, so you can see how quickly those images emboss on that vellum. Just fantastic. And if you do it quick, your vellum will not curl up on you, I promise. So now I'm going to do some coloring. So I have flipped my vellum over. I am doing all the coloring on the backhand side of my vellum, and I've grabbed some Copics. Any kind of alcohol marker would work. You've got Spectrum Noir. There's quite a few alcohol markers out there on the market. And I'm just going in. I think with this you really need to pick some bright colors, because if you pick light colors, they're not really going to show through on the vellum. So I've gone in with some purples and some teals and some pinks and some oranges. I tried to do a yellow and it just wasn't bright enough. So I'm just going in and just applying a lot of really bright colors here. You can see how bright this red is, but when you flip it over, it's not going to look that bright. And then you'll see what I mean by making sure you're picking some really vibrant colors here. So I'm just going in, making sure that all of my images are colored, and I'm going to flip it over and see if I like it. I'm going to add some more red to that center piece, and you see how when I flipped it over, that red really wasn't, super bright like it looks when you're coloring on the backhand side. That's what I mean here. So, when you're coloring on the backhand side, it's not going to look all pretty. It's not going to look all blended, but when you flip it over, it really is quite pretty. So I'm going to set that vellum aside to dry, and now I've got a background stamp from Impression Obsessions, and this is one of the super popular ombre ink pads by Hero Arts. I'm looking for the name of it and I can't find it, so I'll make sure to link that up below, but it's obviously a yellow to orange ombre. And I'm just going in and kind of shimmying my ink pad back and forth. I don't know the right term for that, but that's what I did. I'm calling it shimmying. And then I'm taking my cardstock and I'm going to press my cardstock base directly onto that stamp, and I'm going to grab some scratch paper there and kind of press. Now I'm not going to do an even impression or pressing down because I didn't want the whole entire background stamp. So I'm not pressing hard on the whole entire back of the stamp, and you'll see what I mean in just a second when I flip it over here. And you see how some of those places didn't get inked up? That's exactly the look I was going for. I wanted kind of that messy background. Now the Hero Arts inks, they go on splotchy, but they dry smooth. So just give it a second to dry and it'll all smooth out. So this is some multi-matte medium. I put in a little applicator bottle, but my applicator is all acting crazy, like it wouldn't come out. I don't know what's going on with this particular bottle, so this is not something I would ever recommend. But I'm going to go ahead and dip the tip into the glue. I'm going to keep using it, you know what I'm saying? It's already in there. So the key with vellum is you can see through it, so you got to be careful what adhesive you put down. So I just put little dots behind all the embossed lines and over the words, and that embossed outline is going to hide all that glue that I put down. I just did a lot of little dots, and believe it or not, those little dots are strong enough to hold this vellum piece down on the card, and you're never going to see that glue. So I decided I wanted to bring in a little bit more of that embossed image. So this is a Versamark pen. It's the same thing as the ink pad, it's just in a pen format. And I'm going around the outline of the card. I wanted to create a little border of that Versamark ink. So I'm just going around totally freehand. You can grab a ruler if you want or whatever. And then I'm going to go in and sprinkle on some of that embossing powder. Now it's not going to be a complete solid line, and that's okay. That's the look I was going for. So again, I'm just kind of sprinkling that around. It's kind of hard to do to keep it all contained in that little tiny little organizer bin down there. But anyway, so you can see that it wasn't a complete line, so I've got a dry brush there, and I'm just going to go through that. I kind of did a little diagonal there, so I'm just going to go out and brush away the excess embossing powder, and then I kind of straighten it out. And then I'm going to go ahead and heat set that. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me a nice embossed frame almost to the card. And I just thought it tied everything in it together. It timed all the embossing on that vellum together. And that's the card for today. So coloring on vellum is so much fun. I don't know why I don't pull out vellum more on my projects. I just love that you can see through the vellum. Isn't that cool? So if you're interested in any of the supplies, they are linked below in the YouTube description and also on my blog. So I thank you guys so much for joining me for today's video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.